Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. In today's video we're going to be looking at games from the 1980s on the Retroid Pocket 5. And we'll be looking at a game from every single year of the decade. So where else to begin than with 1980s Pac-Man? One of the most iconic games ever made. We're going to be playing this in Final Burn Neo within RetroArch. And with these old arcade games being mostly black, they really pop on OLED screens. The sounds of these games are so nostalgic. It's not me that's stuck in here with you, it's you that's stuck in here with me. Uh-oh. I love those old retro sounds. So when it comes to pure performance, unsurprisingly it works really well on the Retroid Pocket 5. But what is worth noting is just how great it pops on the OLED screen. So let's now jump into a game from 1981 now, and this is the first ever appearance of Mario ever in a video game. Yes, this is Donkey Kong. For many games in this list, I will be running the NES version of the game, because NES emulation is really mature and runs very well. And here we are, here is Jumpman. Well, there was Jumpman, he's now an angel. I've never played this original version of Donkey Kong before. I have played some of the newer games, but never this one. So I'm really curious what this game is like. And in true Mario style, we can of course jump. Hey, that fire is climbing a ladder. Let's see if we can jump on it like in Mario. I don't think we can. It doesn't seem like it. Oh, we get 100 points for jumping over it. Oh, apparently jumping on the elevator is not a good idea. Game over. I'm not quite sure what went wrong there. I thought I did the right thing. Anyway, that was the 1981 game Donkey Kong, and it seems like good fun. Now let's move on to another game, also from 1981, that I did personally play as a kid and really enjoyed. This is Frogger. That classic game of crossing the street with a frog and trying not to get hit by anything. I did have a version of this as a kid, but it was definitely a more modern version than this. I believe it was on either my computer or maybe PlayStation 1, that kind of era. And I even have a modernized version of this on my phone right now. It's just a very fun concept for a game, I think. I've been really struggling to get past this middle point of the game, and I just realized this is water. I've been trying to avoid all of the obstacles here, like the road at the bottom. But this is water, so you actually need to jump on the obstacles. It was not apparent to me at all that this is water. Okay, so there's my mistake there. So you actually need to jump on the things crossing here. Okay, that's why I was failing. I think the graphics of this game definitely could have used a little bit of work, but the concept is really fun. Oh, I just slotted myself in there and look very happy. And just for comparison, this is Crossy Road, which is basically a modernized version of Frogger. It follows the exact same principle of crossing the road and trying not to get hit by traffic. So if you want a more modernized version of Frogger, I would recommend checking out Crossy Road. But let's get back into our 80s games, and now move on to 1982. And we have Pitfall, Harry's Jungle Adventure on the Atari 2600. This is a game I've seen lots of pictures of, but I haven't tried yet, so I'm really curious what we have to do. It seems that we have to jump and swing around the jungle, which looks really fun. So we can go down the ladder, we can go back up the ladder, we can slide over this oil somebody spilled. Oh no, there are tumbleweeds coming at us. Oh, this is the screenshot that I saw, swinging on this rope like George of the Jungle. Whee! That's very fun. But I don't know how to get off again. And there's a scorpion waiting underneath. Uh-oh. There we go. What is this? Ah, crocodiles. This game is quite funny. I like this game. I can see this being very popular back when it came out because it's very fun. The 80s is before my time, so most of these games I haven't played before, but that's why it's fun to jump into them on a retro device like this. So let's now move on to 1983, and we have Dragon's Lair. This one wasn't loading up for me on arcade emulation, so we are going to be emulating the SNES version of this game. That's the good thing about a lot of these old classic games that are very popular. They're available for many different systems. So if you're not able to get one of them working well, you have a lot of choices. This game, for instance, is able to be run on arcade emulation, SNES, Nintendo DS, PSP. There's so many options from all different brands. So while it might be slightly different to the original, I'm not actually sure on that front. I am able to emulate this game in various ways. So let's jump into what is now a 1990s version of this game, which may be slightly different to the 1983 version, but in any case, let's play Dragon's Lair. This game really has that retro style. I'm already liking this. We can swing our sword. We can throw something. What is that? Some kind of axe? We can, of course, jump. We can crouch and hope for the best. I am curious how this compares to the original because it looks much too modern. So if anyone in the comments knows about the original, which I'm sure some of you will, please let me know how this compares because this looks very, very new. It's hard to believe this is a SNES game because it looks more modern than that. And as I just fall through the map and out of the game, that one was fun. I want to play that one a little bit more. That looked really, really nice. But let's move on to another game because we do have another game from 1983 that is an absolute blockbuster. Because 1983 also marked the first ever Mario Bros game. So after seeing Jumpman make his debut in Donkey Kong, we now have Mario Bros, his very own game. I love the sound he makes when he runs. And on the topic of big famous blockbuster games, the following year, 1984, brought the beginning of Tetris, which is arguably the most famous game ever. Here we're playing the 1989 version of Tetris on the Game Boy, because I thought it'd be interesting to throw some handheld action into this 80s video. So here we are, of course in black and white, as the Game Boy didn't have any colour, until the Game Boy Color was introduced a few years later, which was my first ever handheld console. And I loved that thing, so being able to try out its predecessor now is really, really interesting for me. I seem to have made a mess of this. Let's see if we can quickly tuck this one at the bottom. I'm not sure if it works, but we're going to try. Nope, that was a fail. But we all know Tetris very well. Tetris is a game that you can just continue playing and playing forever. Oh, nice. Who likes my tactic of just building a huge tower down the middle? It's not a tactic I've ever used before, and I don't think I'll ever use it again. But I wanted to try it this time. I don't usually group all the same pieces together like this. I'm just praying for some long pieces. Here we go. And it's kind of crazy to me to imagine that this is a 1980s handheld game. In my mind, handhelds weren't a thing until the 90s. I just let the pieces stack up down the middle to see what happens when the game ends, and we have a really cute screen here. Please try again with a little heart. That's lovely. Even though this was a little bit before my time, I would be really happy to play this as a kid. Tetris is a game that is still just fantastic. Moving on to 1985 now, and after the success of Mario Bros, we have Super Mario Bros. We have that classic soundtrack that's still used in Mario today. This is one of the best-selling games of all time. And you can see why, because compared to the other games I played before, the mix of the graphics, the music, just everything about it is so fun. And here's a little bit of Ryan Retro trivia. My first ever retro handheld was the Retroid Pocket 2, which I got a few years ago. And when I got that device, the first game I played was this. It was Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario World. They were the first two games I wanted to try because I never got a chance to play these as a kid, and they were the ones I really wanted to try out. And the Retroid Pocket 2 wasn't really capable of running many new systems. It was pretty much a retro-only system. It's certainly not capable of doing what the Retroid Pocket 5 can do, emulating Windows games, secret console games, and all of that stuff. The Retroid Pocket 2 was purely a nostalgic retro machine. So the first game I ever played was this. So it's really cool now to play it once again on this beautiful OLED screen, and unsurprisingly it runs beautifully and it's a very fun game. And now that we've covered the first ever appearance of Mario in a game, and his first ever game of his own, let's now cover the first appearance of other iconic characters. 1986 brought the first ever Legend of Zelda game. In this game you need to put your name, because this game was one of the ones that pioneered save game mechanics, as well as open world exploration. Here we go, the first ever Legend of Zelda. It still looks recognizable now, even compared to the modern games. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. We just got our first sword. We just threw away our first sword. So let's see if we can go find some baddies. If you saw my previous video of 1970s games, many of those were space games, shooting out lasers and missiles to other spaceships. And it seems like we're still using that same kind of mechanic here, as rather than hitting things with our sword, we're throwing it. Projectiles were very much the in thing at this time. So as you can see here, as we walk around, we do have this big open world to explore. It's not showing us exactly where to go. We're able to move around as we like. Here at the top left, we have the overall view of the map, and you can see it's quite large. As I walk around, it's actually a pretty fairly decently sized map here. That's a fun game. You can see why it gained so much traction and took off, because it's very fun compared to the other games at the time. Because compared to the other games at the time, it had a lot of impressive elements like the save game feature and open world style. Sticking with 1986 now was the first release in another classic series, Metroid. And I know from speaking to others in my Discord and checking the comments of my videos, there are a lot of Metroid fans around here. Once again, you can see the very recognizable character. And also this gameplay is very smooth. It seems like it's running at 60 frames per second. Once again, as I said before, this looks really, really great on the OLED screen. All the deep blacks of these games, they really pop here. And I can't help but think all of these games would also look amazing on the Retroid Pocket Mini. So if you're someone who has a Retroid Pocket Mini, I think you'd really enjoy all these 4x3 games on that screen. I wanted to know if I could pass by under this little passage, and you can roll into a little ball and roll around. That's quite funny. So this is the first ever Metroid game, and it's pretty fun. And I'm especially impressed with how smooth it is. It's fluid. 1987 now, and we have the release of Contra, a game I remember seeing at the arcades. We can run around, shoot our gun, jump, we can jump down, or we can actually go for a swim. I wasn't expecting that to work. And we can even hide under the water. Oh, there's bad guys under the water. Let's go for a swim. Am I winning? Or am I about to get pulled under the water? I think I might have found a great strategy here. This game is really famous because it features the first ever Konami code, sometimes known as the Contra code. That's the code that goes up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, that is present in so many games from Konami and various other companies. So right now you can see we have 2 lives, but let's see if we can get some extra lives by using the Konami code. This is going to be my first time doing this in this game, so I'm actually really excited to see if it's going to work inside the emulator. So let's try this and see if it works. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A. It seems like it might have worked, because before when we only had 2 lives, we now have 4. And it seems to be working because my lives are staying at 4. So the Konami code, also known as the Contra code, absolutely does work inside the emulator. That's really cool. Sticking with 1987 now, we have the first game in yet another extremely famous franchise. This is Final Fantasy. We can assemble our team of fighters and thieves. Here we are in the game. We can walk around the world. The king is looking for the light warriors. You do not happen to be them, do you? So while this is the first ever Final Fantasy game, you can already see the way it's shaping the role-playing style. As we can walk around, talk to people, we can go find the king and see what he has to say. Garland has kidnapped the princess. So just like modern day RPGs, we're able to freely walk around, talk to characters, and decide where we want to go next. And it seems like I've encountered a Pokemon. Fight! So we're fighting 5 imps, who thankfully keep missing. And already you can see the beginning of the Final Fantasy franchise, as you're able to choose various different choices, such as fighting, using magic, drinking, using items, or running away. You can also see the inspiration for Pokemon battles here, as it follows a very similar formula. So this is Final Fantasy, the first game in one of the most iconic RPG franchises of all time. We've now seen Mario in Donkey Kong, we've had his own Super Mario Bros. Game, the fantastic Super Mario Bros. 2, which I personally really like. So now we have 1988's Super Mario Bros. 3. When you launch into this one, you'll see Luigi right away. This one carries on from Super Mario Bros. 2, in the sense that it has the catchy music and sounds and the really nice visuals again. Once again, it's a really fun game that you can just jump into. What I love about Mario games is that even if someone never plays games and they've never tried a Mario game before, you can just hand them the console or the controller and they can just immediately start playing and understand what they have to do. It's one of those games that needs no kind of setup or requirements to just pick up and have fun. You don't need to read any manuals, you don't need to know the lore, you don't have to consult any online guides. You can just pick it up and just have some fun. And if, like me, you didn't realize you can die by hitting the underside of a creature like that, it's very quick and easy to learn, and you can just jump straight back in and give it another try. 1989 brought a whole host of iconic games before the turn of the decade, and I'm going to be showing you 4 of them here. So first of all, this is SimCity. This is the SNES version of the game, as I hear it's easier to emulate. You can see we have the copyright 1989 for the original game, but this one is 1991. Jumping into the game, you can start a new city or scenario, or you can practice. So let's practice for the sake of this video. SimCity was a groundbreaking city building game, and this has grown into a phenomenon today with the likes of the Sims games, and we have various other styles of games like Civilization and things like that, all about building worlds, maps, cities, towns, etc. SimCity was one of the pioneers in this space, being released in the late 80s. So we can look around the map here, we can decide to build something where we'd like. So first of all, we have the bulldozer. Let's bulldoze the area and make some space. So then to select another tool, we're going to have to move our little cursor here over to the side, and it acts like a mouse in this game, as this was originally made for PCs. So let's select a track here, and I'm going to make a little racetrack. I'm going to set up a residence right in front of the racetrack, and then I'll just cover the racetrack in rails, just to completely ruin it. Where else would you like your residence than between 2 industrial factories? This is of course a game you can get really deeply into, and you can see that it really suits a mouse. It's again quite surprising to me that this came out in the 80s because it's very detailed and involved. I would have assumed this was more of a mid to late 90s game, so you can see why it became so popular, because it was truly groundbreaking at the time. We're now going to jump into a game that I've had an absolute nightmare trying to emulate, but I have finally gotten to the bottom of it. This is the background image for the Apple II computer. This is the Prince of Persia. And trying to load this on the Apple II, I wasn't able to get it running. I tried again on the Amiga 500. Once again, I wasn't able to get it running. But finally, on MS-DOS, we were finally able to get the game loaded up and running. Thankfully, this game was available for quite a few PC systems, so we had quite a few choices. So we're able to run around in what is honestly quite a laggy manner. All of the inputs are quite delayed, and I'm led to believe that's probably how the original was, because we're definitely not bottlenecked by performance in any of these games. Every single game I've showed you today so far has been extremely smooth and fluid. This is the first one where you move a direction, and it's kind of a little bit delayed and lagging behind. So we can run around, we can jump and kick. Let's see if we can kick this man with a sword. Your sword is no match for my kung fu! Oh. It turns out it was. That was quite morbid. Let's try again. Let's jump up here and kick the wall. This man's martial arts are rubbish. Okay, new tactic. We're going to fall through the floor here, and we'll run over to the left side. Jump. Oh, there are some dangerous spikes below. Maybe we can hit those dangerous spikes with our kung fu kick. That was quite a bad idea, admittedly. This game is gruesome. Okay, so we know where to go now. We run over here. Jump up. I said jump up. We run and kick over the top. Oh no, not again. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, let's move on to the next game, because I'm apparently not very good at timing that jump. The next game is DuckTales. I've heard so much about this game, about the song, about so much of this, but I've never personally tried it. I'm really excited for this one. So let's jump into the moon. We can run around, we can jump. It doesn't seem like we can do anything else. So I assume we're trying to just avoid stuff. On first glance, it seems a little bit like Mario, with those boxes in the sky and enemies coming. Oh no, we're getting hit by astronaut space ducks. So let's see if I can jump on top of this enemy like in Mario. Definitely not. Again, with all the black backgrounds, everything's really popping on the OLED screen, the sound is great. One thing about the Retroid Pocket 5 is it doesn't have the best speakers, but these old simple retro games sound great. They sound great on anything. This astronaut duck is trying to punch me. Well, this game's quite tricky. But it does seem quite fun. I can see why people like it. But let's jump into another game now. And I want to end today's video with the console that really defined my early childhood. The first ever console I really truly played. And that is the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis as it's known in America. I played so much of this as a kid, and this is the first console I ever really played that got me into gaming. So let's start with one of the most classic, iconic games for that console. This is Golden Axe. And what's quite interesting about this game is I've never played this particular game, but I've played so many games for the Mega Drive. At my home, we must have had more than 100 games, probably more like 200 or 300 games. We had an incredible amount of Mega Drive games, and I played so many of them, but never this one. I remember the box, so I think we did have the game, I just never played it. I think I found the style a bit too scary because I was very young at the time. So this is going to be my first time playing Golden Axe on one of my favorite consoles ever. Oh wow. Oh wow, I can pick him up and throw him. This is kind of reminding me of Streets of Rage a little bit. Bang, oh, bang. This game is very interesting because it has depth. You're not just scrolling left and right like most side-scrolling games. You actually have to move up and down and really line up your shots. I'm going to restart the game because I want to use that fire magic and see what happens. That looks fantastic. So let's wait for the bad guys to get on the screen and let's use it. Go! Wow! Oh, it didn't even end them. They're still here. Oh, this game is very fun. I can see why it was very popular. And it looks great as well. It just feels more sophisticated than most of the side scrollers at the time. Just from the fact that you can move up and down. All right, give me some magic. Give me that magic. Eat this! Oh, I'm having a great time. The Mega Drive to me is just such a fantastic console. Oh, I've got a little chameleon. Oh, what's going on here? What is this? Hey, give me that. I can jump on her little thing. Give that to me. It's like Grand Theft Auto. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Don't you dare. No, don't you dare. That's mine. Give it to me. No, give it back. Oh, this is so fun. Oh, this game's amazing. I'm loving this game. The only issue I have with this game is I don't have a golden axe. But maybe that's what we're aspiring to. Oh, these guys are giants. Come on, Bullseye, let's get out of here. No, don't leave without me. Oh, oh no, I'm stuck in the middle. He just lightly kicks me and then laughs. Oh, this game is good. I love the Mega Drive, and this is a bit of a teaser for tomorrow's video, because tomorrow we're going to jump into 90s games, and I'm a huge Mega Drive fan, so we're going to see a lot of Mega Drive games tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this. I will be once again jumping into more games of the next decade tomorrow, which will be the 90s, so that's going to be really fun for me, because that's when I first started really gaming. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe if you didn't already, and if you'd like to buy your own Retroid Pocket 5 and play all these 80s and other decade games, check out my affiliate link in the description to this official Retroid website. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow for those 90s games. Thank you for watching. Bye.